When you swing a club this summer, you could help save a life. Options Pregnancy Center invites you to join our Golf for Life tournament on June the 1st, supporting moms, babies, families right here in our community. Join us first at our kickoff on April the 13th to learn how you can get involved and receive a free round of golf. Call Vikki Parker, 501-743-5120 to attend the kickoff and see how you can partner. That's 501-743-5120. Golf for Life, because every life is worth
Sit on That Stump in Muddy Bottom with Vikki Parker. Vikki is an author and the CEO of Options Pregnancy Center in Cabot, Jacksonville, and Beebe. Now, here's Vikki.
Welcome to Sit on That Stump, Muddy Bottom, where we have real conversations for real people going through real life. And if you're listening to me today, I know good and well that there's some real people listening that have real life, and there's all kinds of issues that we go through in life. So I'm your host, Vikki Parker, and today we are stepping into a conversation that matters really deeply, not just for where we're at right now, but where we are headed as a nation. And we're going to be able to do right here in Arkansas. It's something that we're going to be able to really lean into and hear about. So, because, listen, we are living in a time where voices matter, where silence has consequences, and where the decisions being made today are shaping the future of our children, where how they will live, where they live, and in tomorrow, into their future. So it all matters. And but I have a very special guest today, and her name is Charlotte Mead-Layer, the Faulkner County Republican president. And Charlotte, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I'm so glad you're here because you are not just talking about change, you're actively leading in change. And I love that about you. For those listening, you may not know, who might not, like you guys listening, may not even know Charlotte, but let me just tell you a little bit about who you are. I want her to really share her heart with you today. I got to meet Charlotte at one of our Republican events and during the election season, and just fell in love with her heart. We've got to spend some time on the phone together and hear her heart, and I just love it. I love how she stepped into the leadership role. So, Charlotte, share a little bit about how you ended up there.
Well, I say it was a divine moment because it's not something I would have sought after.
Right.
You know, we have a business in Mayflower. We build water towers for a living.
Oh, wow.
And I do the bookkeeping, I do the taxes, all that type of stuff.
Right.
So I'm really busy between that and ministry. I'm an ordained minister also.
Yes.
So I'm always doing things in that sector also. But I was asked to go to a Republican women's meeting, just to a luncheon,
right,
as a friend. And I said, well, I've never thought about politics. I really don't know a whole lot about politics.
Right.
And I thought that might be something I'm interested in, get more involved in my community, know what's going on in my state.
Right.
You know, something new and fresh and something I should know about. So I said, I'll go with you. So I went to the luncheon. They were planning an event called a Flag Day event when I had gotten there. And I heard the women speaking about it. They were talking about how we're going to decorate it, how we're going to do the flowers. And they said, we may hire Tipton and Hearst. They were going off each other, how to plan this out. And I said, well, I do weddings, I do events, and I do florals. And they said, oh, you do? And they said, oh, we need her in our group. And they just chuckled about it. Yeah. Well, I ended up joining and becoming a member.
Awesome.
And then from that, after a couple of years of being involved and helping them and doing these event florals, we had Sarah Huckabee Sanders as our speaker. And I got to decorate the event for her. And that was right before she became our governor.
Right.
So that was an honor to be able to be involved in that. And I made so many friends. But after that happened, I moved up the ladder, being in it after a couple of years, and they needed a space for a treasurer. So I became their treasurer,
right,
and then I became over their membership chair,
right,
and then I just kind of kept moving up every couple of years, and then I was voted in to become their president.
That's awesome.
And so that's how that happened.
Yeah.
It was, I believe it was a God thing.
Yeah.
I don't believe it was just, by chance.
And the thing that it's interesting that you said that you're an ordained minister also, because my last two shows, quite a few shows, in fact, have been about the church and about pastors leaning in and being involved in politics. And we as Christians, my big, I guess, platform has been for a few weeks now is that we have to do this as Christians, that Christians will say, but we don't do politics, and they'll go off that same old thing that was never even said between state and church.
Right.
And they get to believing that they shouldn't as a Christian. And that bothers me so bad, because it's like those people are going down to the Capitol and they're making decisions about your Christianity,
yes,
about how you live your life. You have to be involved.
Yes.
You don't have a choice. In reality, you obviously do, but if you want security in your faith and to keep the enemy at bay, then we have to be involved, right?
Exactly. Can I say something?
Yes.
There? That's one thing I felt really pulled toward, is we're out there in the world, we're seeing a lot of crazy things going on that we just look at and we're like, how can this happen? Mm-hmm. How in the world is this happening to our country? Yes. How is this happening in our city? It's because I'm behind the scenes watching. It's because the Christians are not getting involved.
That's exactly right.
They're staying and saying separation of church and state when God never intended it to be separation. God is a leader over authority, the Bible says.
Right.
And he puts people into the kingdoms, into their seats. So
right.
It's like we are responsible to take those seats, to keep it righteous.
Exactly.
If we keep that seat empty, Satan's going to sit in it.
He is going to sit in it.
And we have to be involved, whether we like it or not. I mean, a lot of people don't like politics because of the bad rap that it's had.
Exactly.
But a lot of it has happened because the godly leadership has not been sitting in place.
Exactly.
When you have, what's the word say? When God puts the king in place, the
right.
people are happy.
Mm-hmm.
But when an evil king comes in,
That's
the
right.
people are sad.
Yes.
And overtaken. So it's like God instated that, and we need to get involved and take those positions,
exactly,
so we can bring our nation back to godliness.
Well, and if the people, and what people like, just, by being in a committee, being there at the committee, what I have seen in Lonoke County is that the more godly people that come in, that have that faith, that have that moral standing, that when those votes come up of what should we do, how should we move toward this, what is going on in our state, what's going on in our country, what can we do on our level, and we can do things on our level.
Yes.
People don't think that they go like, well, they're the powers that be. No, the powers that be are there because we're not there.
That's right.
That's why they're there. And they wouldn't be there if the people would come in and show up and make time for it. We make time for what's important to us.
Exactly.
And the sad part is that I see that people don't make time for things that have to do with our daily lives. They think, well, they're down there making the electric bill go higher. They're down there making the water bill go higher. They're not fixing the streets. They're doing this. But yep. I'm a proponent of being part of the solution, not the problem. And I like being part of the solution. And we can gripe about something all day, but how about if we get involved and we do something about it? And it may be one voice, and you may not feel like that you're making that big a difference, but all of us collectively, we could have changed everything in America.
Yes.
If all the Christians, but bottom line, you believe in Jesus Christ, you believe that he was born of Virgin Mary, he come and he walked on this earth for 33 years and did miracles, and he went to that whipping post, he went to that cross, and he ascended, he overcame death, hell, and the grave, and then he ascended and sits at the right hand of the Father, interceding for us right now. If you believe that, I don't care how you worship. I don't care if you raise your hands, you speak in tongues. I don't care if you don't do it. It doesn't matter. We all believe the same thing. The bottom line, how we worship, don't mean nothing compared to what we believe. And as long as we can agree on that, every single Christian, I believe, should be involved in our country, because what our founding fathers, which is something we're going to talk about today, our founding fathers were Christians.
Yes.
They were, I don't care what label people dig out, all this other stuff. I don't care. Bottom line is they put God in the Constitution. They put everything here. They laid the groundwork, and they've done it. And what we're going to talk about is I don't want to jump because I could go right there right now. But I want people to understand this is so important to each and every county. I don't care where you're listening to me today from. If you're listening to me from the Jonesboro area, from the Northwest Arkansas area, the Southeast area, the Southwest, I don't care where you're, or the Central. I don't care where you're listening at. Understand that we fuss about stuff that we should be part of. And sometimes we're probably going to get outvoted. Sometimes. Other times, but I know that if we could all get on that same level to realize we worship the same God.
That's right.
How we worship don't mean nothing in compared to who we worship and what we believe. As long as we can level down on that right there, then we can stand arm in arm, and we can overcome abortion. We can overcome all the trans stuff, all of the gay, lesbian, all of this stuff. We can lead people out of the darkness into the light.
That's right.
But they got to see the light first, don't you think?
Jesus.
Jesus
is the key.
He is the key.
It's not just God the Father, but it's the Son also.
Absolutely.
And if we all are in agreement on that as Savior, He covers a multitude of sin, a multitude of everything, and that's what brings that sense of unity between us all. Like you said, it's not about the way we worship. It's about we're all godly.
Absolutely.
We're all under Him, and if we can just realize that and look past the little inconsistencies,
right.
The basic foundation is Him.
Yes.
And it's like if we can just get there, we can work together.
Absolutely.
We can work together in peace and in unity.
Because I think we all want the same thing.
We do.
It's just how we go about it.
Right. And there's got to be peace. We've got to have a brotherhood and a sisterhood
we have to
working
have
together.
We absolutely do. And I think that's where we get off kilter from it. But he's such a gracious, loving Heavenly Father. I'm so thankful that He left the Holy Spirit with us down here, because if it wasn't for that, I don't know what I'd do most days of my life. And I know you guys listening probably feel the same way. And I tell you that today, whether you're in Faulkner County, whether you're in Lone Oak County, Pulaski County, you can make a difference. You really can. So I do want to take a good part of the show and talk about a wonderful event that you guys are heading up, aren't you?
Yes.
And I think all of you listening, most of you will have heard this. Of course, we know this is our 250th year, and I can't say the words.
I can say it.
You do it, girl.
Semi-quincentennial.
Oh, I'm so
It's
proud.
our semi-quincentennial. I practiced that.
I'm so glad you did, because I was like, okay, that's a tongue tie. That'll get me tongue tied. So, but who you guys are having is David Barton with Wall Builders.
Yes, so excited about that.
I know. So share a little bit about David. Share a little bit about the event. Let's talk about that.
Okay. Well, David's been around for a long time. When I first became a Christian, he was one of the first people I followed because he was a historian for America on the biblical principles, and he studies on the nation and how our nation was founded and the truths behind it. And so much of that has been taken out of our history books.
Has.
Well, he has a lot of the original documentation and pieces all the way back, from our Constitution and things like. He's got all kinds of things, and they're actually having an exhibit coming up at the Capitol Museum.
Oh,
in
here?
David
In
Barton.
Little Rock?
Yes, I just got to.
Oh.
They let me take a sneak peek behind the scenes, and I got to see the documents. They have like originals from James Madison, from
my word.
Thomas Jefferson, John Hancock, the original papers.
Oh, my word.
I got to visually put my eyes on it, because I was like, I cannot believe this. This is a piece of history.
It is.
So, and it just blessed me to get that opportunity.
do
but
that.
y'all need to go to the Capitol and check that exhibit out. They're fixing to put it out soon.
When does it start? Do you know?
Oh, I don't know the start date, because that's separate from what I'm doing. But I do know they showed it to me and said they've got it behind the curtain and they're setting it all out, getting it all ready. So David brought that in
so you
to them to
listeners,
use.
Pay attention, and maybe it would be it's going to be at the Capitol?
Yeah, the actual exhibits are going to be at the Capitol.
Okay.
That's just something David Barton's doing in our state.
Okay, great.
With wall builders. But he is who we're having as our speaker for Flag Day this year for our America's 250th semi-quincentennial.
Yes.
So this is our 10th year for Flag Day with the Faulkner County Republican Women.
Yeah.
So I really felt on this special occasion, being that it's America's celebration, I don't want it to be about politics. I want it to be about Jesus, about our nation, about how God laid the foundation for the USA. And I thought, who better to have than a biblical historian who knows all about America, so much of it, to represent us and to speak for us. And I really want to bring people in from all over, whether they're Republican or Democrat. I don't care. I want us to know the roots of the nation.
Absolutely.
And we're having it at Renewal Ranch, which is a rehabilitation home for men.
Yes.
And they get them on track. They teach them a trade. I know they've got an auto mechanic shop. They teach those men in and stuff. Right. They have a chef there on staff that's a professional chef, and he does all of the food, and he's excellent. Wow. And their facility, they have an event center there that's rentable. So we decided to give them the money. We said, you know what? The money that we're going to get from these tickets, we're going to put toward renting that event center so they can get the finances from us for that. So
that's wonderful.
The tickets that we're going to sell for that event, that'll help them too, and it'll also go for Faulkner County Republican Women.
Absolutely, that is wonderful.
Yeah.
And I've listened to David. If you guys have not listened to David, he's been on several, but he has a podcast.
Wall Builders Show.
Tim
Barton.
With Tim Barton and them. And I love sitting there and listening to that because he is so schooled on our history, and you can't say that we're not a Christian nation.
No way.
Because just because you see the devil running rampant don't mean we're not a Christian nation.
That's right.
Right? Just because he's acting up. Wherever God's going to be, he's going to try to be messing and gumming in it, but he don't get to. He don't get to win, and that's what I want you guys to understand. He don't get to win this battle. We keep fighting. We keep being the light. We keep being the salt. We keep being that for the people that are in front, because the only way, if you're not on fire for God, then you're not going to draw them in, because people are looking. They are looking, and they're going to find something, folks. They're going to find something. They're going to find the little fat boys. They're going to find the dead boys, which the little fat boys, he's dead too. All of them are dead. They're all dead. There's only one living Savior, and his name is Jesus. And it's for us to do this. I love it. And if you guys are listening to this today, this event is, what's the date on this event?
June the 18th at 6 p.m.
June the 18th at 6 p.m. So
it's a Thursday.
It's at Renewal Ranch. And so she's going to share with us how you can get tickets, how you can get there and all that. Here's what I would say to you. And Charlotte, I think you'd probably agree to this. If they would just bring their youth.
Oh, yes.
Bring your youth. They need to hear, because see, in the world, in the schools, and what they're hearing is, we're not a Christian nation. We're this nation, we're that nation. We've got all this menagerie. The nation wasn't developed and born on Judeo Christian, and that's not true.
No.
But David Barton can say it better than anybody. Mm-hmm. That's his calling, I think. He can tell it better than anybody I've ever heard. And you will not be bored.
Oh, no.
Not be bored. Those kids will not be bored either. But I would encourage them to bring their young people, bring their youth. History teachers, if you're out there and you're a history teacher, I would tell you, bring your youth, bring your class, get tickets, get it out to the families and stuff. Churches, please listen to me.
Definitely.
Don't you think?
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I'm inviting churches.
Yes.
I don't have everyone's contact. I need contacts.
Right.
I want to invite the churches.
Yes.
Have them sponsor a table for their youth. I mean, we've got $800 tables on an early bird that you can order.
Yeah.
That some people are doing that. They're bringing in the youth
That's wonderful.
from their churches.
Oh, what a great thing to do.
Yeah.
The youth pastors could do that
Yes.
and bring them in. And so if you're a church and you're listening today, you're a youth pastor or senior pastor, lead pastor, please listen to the end of the show, because she's going to share with exactly how you can reach her and how you can get information on that. So tell us something else about what's going to happen that night.
Well, it's a dinner event. So, like I said, their chef is going to be serving. I think we're having a meal. It's going to be, we're doing two meats. It's going to be, there's a chicken breast with a glaze, and then there's also a pork loin. And they're going to put both on the plate. That way we can make everybody happy.
Right.
And they're putting a starch and a vegetable and rolls and dessert. So that comes with your meal. And then we're also going to be having, a lot of our legislators will be there.
Yes.
I know State Representative Mary Bentley bought a table there.
Yeah.
So she's going to be there.
Absolutely.
And Tim Griffin, he's purchased something special to go there. French Hill's working on sponsoring us also. So we've got good involvement with our leadership, and I'm excited about that. We also are going to be doing some other things just to uplift America. And everything while we're there. We're still in the finalities of some of that.
And what day of the week is that on?
It's on a Thursday night.
Thursday night.
6 p.m.
So at 6 p.m. So here's a thought for you guys. Y'all are thinking this will not be an all-nighter. So if you're thinking that, I'm in Cabot area or I'm in eastern area of Arkansas, that's a really long drive to Renewal Ranch. Well, let me tell you, it will be worth it. You're not going to be there all night. The program will not last forever, I promise. No. But you will still be wanting more when you leave, I believe, because I have listened to it. I've been out there to Renewal Ranch, and it's wonderful because all of the guys are the servers, and they were so nice.
Excellent.
They did such an amazing job serving that night. Well, let's go a little bit deeper. For someone listening right now who is on the fence, what would you say that they would really walk away with?
Well, they'll have a deeper love for America because I know, as I've heard David speak, I purchased his DVDs and his books over the last 20 years and just learned a lot from him, from the information. He gives facts and stuff that he has, and you can just draw your own conclusion. And there's no denial that we're a Christian nation. Yeah. And it's been suppressed from us for some reason. I think,
and still being taken out of our history books. Our kids, this is why it's so important, I think, for the students to come, because I think they have changed and they've taken so much out of the history books, and the truth is not being told to these generations. And I'm not sure how many generations now this has already affected, but I do know that if these kids are not told by families, and the families do not know the history, that history will be lost. But it is the truth about how our country was founded and built on that Judeo-Christian foundation.
Yes. And that's one great reason to see it for yourself, hear it for yourself, because, we're going to where we're in a world of social media. Everything's on the internet. AI is taking over. A lot of our history and our paper and our books are going to be twisted.
Yes.
They're going to take wording out to fit their narratives. Mm-hmm. I mean, even our Bible is at stake if we don't keep on it and don't just trust what you see out there on AI. Go read it for yourself and get into the history of it so you don't get deceived. I think that's so important for our future.
Oh, absolutely.
Is don't let them take your books away. Keep some paper copies.
Absolutely.
And don't just rely on internet.
Yeah.
But also, I want to say something that I learned through this historian. They said that there was a story, George Washington, whenever he was being pursued by the Indians, they were shooting at him.
Right.
They said they shot at him like almost 10 times. Right. And couldn't kill him.
Right.
They kept saying, why is he not dying? He's, And they said finally the chief called it off and said, obviously this man is a god or an angel or something. He's protected by the hand of God. Yeah. And he ordered him to quit shooting. Yeah. So that's a true story.
It is a true story.
And they found the holes in his jacket. Yeah. There's holes in George Washington's jacket he was wearing.
Absolutely.
To prove
Yeah.
So it's
I've
an
heard
amazing
that
piece of
story.
history.
I know. I've heard that. I've heard that story before, and it's so phenomenal. I'd love to walk in historical places. I love to go all kinds, but I really love to go to historical places. Branson has one up at Top of the Rock at Ridgedale that they have an amazing museum in the bottom of there, and they've got actual replica. Everything is there. A lot of our presidents' handwritings and things like that, actual handwritings and things are there. Their suits, things that they were, Lincoln's and Lady, both are there. Their clothes and their writings. It's amazing. They have so much. And I love to go see that and I think everybody should take their kids to see that. I've took my grandson several times because I want them to understand this is how we used to live. This is how our ancestors used to live. Now, yes, we've come a long way, but it was on the back of on their back and on their blood, on their sweat, on their tears, on their calluses was this country built.
Yes.
And let me tell you, they knelt before the Almighty God every night. There was nobody had to argue with them about there being a God. And even the ranked sinners, I mean, we've all been ranked sinners at one time or the other. But even then, those people knelt before God and they knew who to call on because their life was hard. Our life has become so easy and with so many different things, and we like air conditioning. Right. I like air conditioning. I like it a lot. Oh. I like soft beds. I don't.
And a hot shower.
Yes, hot shower. I can't imagine all the stuff that these people went through to build this country, and their names will never be known. They will never be listed. They'll never be known. And for me, that's sad. But it's even sadder to think that even the people that their names were written in a book, that our students, our future generations would not know who these people are and the price that they paid so that we could have air conditioning, so that we could have a refrigerator that plugs into the wall that makes ice and all these wonderful things that we can go to the refrigerator and push a button and get water.
And there's an iPad on some of them.
And there's an iPad. I mean, there's things that if we look back in history and we see how they lived and they came across in buggies, horse and buggies, and brought what little they had. And I do mean little. Some people think, oh, well, we don't have very much. We're very poor. I've been poor too. But I'm going to tell you, even poor, I had way more than they did.
Yeah.
Way more than they did. I remember living where there wasn't, where we didn't even have indoor bathroom. Yeah, so I lived like that, and I thought that was about as poor as you got. But I look back at them and I'm thinking, oh my goodness, I was so blessed. I had a roof over my head. I had a floor underneath me. I wasn't in the back of a wagon where Indians could come and attack me or whatever.
Yes, but just a tent.
Just a tent. You had no covering whatsoever. So God is just so faithful to us. He's been way better to us than we have been to him. That's for sure. Yeah, as a nation, but we do have to remember that we must keep the main thing, and that is that He will always. He's always for us. He's not against us. He is, and I think that's one of the things that we need to remember as if you're a Christian and you're listening to this show today. I would say whatever county that you live in, contact and see if you can find, at least go for a visit to a Republican Party committee meeting. I mean, you can go as a visitor. Anybody can go to a visitors meeting. You can go and just listen and see what it's about, what they're doing, and see what might spark something in you to realize maybe I can make a difference. Maybe just being there can make a difference.
And it does.
It really does make a difference.
Having involvement. For me, we need people to help us along the way because one or two people can't do all the work. We need people to come alongside us and with the vision to help and to see things done in our state that are positive.
Mm-hmm. And you know what I love about your story is that you went there just to see. You
Just to
didn't think
check it
about
out.
some of the talents that you had that could contribute to them. So the people that are listening
no
today,
idea.
tell them what they might could do to help.
I'll tell you what, we've got all kinds of, there's different committees. We've got ones on Americanism. We take flags to the schools or to places that have a tattered tag, and we'll retire properly that flag, give them a new one. And I tell you, Senator Mark Johnson donated some flags and got them for me. He is a member of our club.
Okay.
And so he was able to get us some flags, and we were able to send those out. And we have a literacy committee where we take little tiny libraries and we put books in them and fill them, and we put our labels on them so they know it comes from the Faulkner County Republican Women.
Right.
We just want people to know who we are. But we donate. We have people donate those books for us for children's books, so we can contribute to reading in our area and stuff with the kids.
Right.
Promote it. And we'll do reading at the schools. We'll volunteer and we'll go to the schools whenever they'll allow us to come in, and we'll read to the kids. We'll do things like teaching classes and stuff in the community to just better their lives. We work with our Caring for America committee. I've got Dana Ward who runs Harbor Home in Conway. Yes. She is my chair over Caring for America, and she's been so helpful. She was a friend of mine for 20 years, and I reunited with her, and I said, you would be perfect to work with us in Caring for America. And she's just loved it, and we've been able to help with Harbor Home for women and children. We donate, blankets, clothes. We've had drives for them for Bethlehem House in Conway, which is another center. Another one, the Rise, the Call. We've donated toys and clothes and different things for the kids at the Call, and CASA, the foster care, the court-appointed advocates. We've worked with them, and we'll just do a little at a time. Like we may only have $20. Well, each one of us might put $10 or $20 together, and by the time all of us in the group put a little bit, we were able to present them with maybe $500 or $1,000 that just helps them to help a family or two.
Absolutely.
And it helps them get started back into the community. And they just opened a new one called The Refuge in Conway.
Okay.
And we just recently had them come speak. And that's what we do. We'll have them come speak to our meetings.
Yes.
So we can get to know them and get to know and be connected to our community.
Right.
It's like it's not necessarily, it's not all about politics. It's also about the heart of our community.
Exactly. And that's exactly, as I'm listening to you, that's what I'm hearing, is that I can see where somebody would think, oh, it's just coming in and sitting in a meeting, but it's more than that. Because if we're going to be a committee, if we're going to be about our people, then that's what we do is we get out and we go about them, and we get out and about and do what needs to be done and help in some way, and that makes it seem like it's not, and it's not just politics. It's about life.
Yes.
But we have to be conscious of what they're voting on down here at the Capitol.
Absolutely.
And know what those bills are. There's some people, I would guess, probably in your county, it's just like ours. There could be some people that maybe they're retired and they're at home and they could get on the internet, and when the different committees, the health committee, which is important to our culture, when the finance committee, where the education committee, those committees are meeting, they can stream directly from their home, and they can say, oh, I heard there's somebody going with a bill that doesn't sound like it's a Christian bill at all. I'm going to call whoever in that county, and I'm going to tell that committee what's going on. Do they know? Because even though we're on a committee, doesn't mean we know exactly what's going on down at the Capitol, because different people put up different bills, and some of them not good bills. You know, and you need to know that ahead of time. And maybe they don't even know it's a good bill. They might think it's a good bill, but it's not a good bill. It's culturally and spiritually, it's not a good bill.
And that is something that we do in our club, is when these bad bills come forth and we say that is not conservative, that is not good for the people, or it's overtaxing the people. Anything where the government's trying to kind of take over too much, little too much, we'll rise up and say, hey, kind of want to put them in check and say, hey, we're watching.
Right.
We care
Right.
what's going on. This is not good.
This is not what we want.
We'll put out emails and we'll put out information and let our people know in our club, hey, you need to call the front desk at the Capitol. They're voting on this bill.
Right.
And we'll put information out there where that can be done if that's an interest to you. You
Yeah.
can get involved and you can make a difference. And you know,
Even
they'll tell you
that.
they listen to us when they
Right.
know our group. They know we show out.
Yeah,
We go
but-
to the Capitol. We talk to them. We meet with our legislators, and we're friends with some of them because we've seen them so many times. You get where you're on a
Right.
personal basis because you've seen them so many times, and you connect. But we've been so blessed. You know, even Mark Johnson, he saw us connected with Harbor Home, and he got to meet Dana as my chair at our meeting.
Right.
Well, she expressed what they did, and somehow they connected. And he was able to get meat for
Right.
the women, frozen meats.
That's awesome.
And as a donation,
Yeah.
with the programs that are going on in our government, in our state.
Right.
So
Right.
things that we didn't even know about.
Didn't even know about.
God's using it to interconnect each other like a puzzle piece.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
like everything just falls into place, and it helps the community, helps the women, helps the children, helping the men get back where they can be fathers again.
Exactly.
Just so many things that's just more than politics. And I wish
It
people
is.
would understand is you don't have to be all on fire for politics, but you know what? You can make a difference just to
Yes.
get involved and be a voice. You can make a difference.
And you know, I think if Dana had just not been there that night, had Dana not made that connection, had Dana not stepped into and leaned into doing something, being a positive effect, then she would not probably have met him. That probably wouldn't have happened. But what a blessing that is for her to be able to help provide, because I run a nonprofit just like she does. And the things that you need, food is not one of the things that we provide, but they do.
Right.
And so that's an important part of their ministry. But it's a very expensive part of their ministry. So
Yeah.
you just never know when somebody's going to get involved. When you get involved, what a difference you can make in somebody else's life. What a difference you can change. How you can change somebody. It's so important.
Yeah.
And I just think it's a big thing. And I know that there's a lot of people, like older people and stuff, that don't think about that they have anything to give, that they have any ability to do anything, that what could they possibly do with any of it. And the reality is that everybody has a voice and everybody can do something, because somebody knows somebody that I don't know.
That's right.
And so who knows who they're going to connect that with. And that gets exciting to me, to think about how that all comes together. You know, I remember, and this is I've said this many times on the show, but just thinking about David Barton coming, history class in Faulkner, Mississippi, was with very small school, very small school, maybe 600 students in the whole, elementary to high school, very small. My class was like 29 graduating. So it was very, very small, and we had some of the best teachers in the world. And I believe that I grew up during the best time of life. I didn't think that when I was in it, but I really did. I grew up in the best time of life because things were so much easier then. And I was a teenager in '73 when Roe came into law, and I remember that so well. Shared it on the show many times. But the name of the show and the name of my book, Sit on That Stump Muddy Bottom, came from my history teacher. Wow. It was Mr. Kerry Clark. And he was a phenomenal teacher. I always say that he reminded me, thinking back about how I used to sway into the room. He was a tall, slender man, but he would sway into the room, and I would think, that's kind of like John Wayne. He kind of just had that mannerism about him, that sway about him. And he'd throw his leg over the corner of the desk and lean over. And this is all I remember from history class. I'm being stone cold honest with you. And you're like, Vikki, and I know I've had to learn everything I've learned since, because this is what my brain just stopped right there. And he would lean over on his elbow and he would go, now, you knuckleheads, Y'all all know, y'all have the right answer inside of you. God gave it to you before you ever left heaven. Yeah, He gave it to you there, and He sent you everything with everything you need to be successful, everything you needed to know to make the right decisions. But you're going to have to sit down on that stump, Muddy Bottom, and you're going to have to think about it. You're going to have to think about the pros and the cons, and you'll come up with the right answer if you'll just do that. So throughout my whole life, that one thing, I can see Him the day He did it. And that one thing carried me through my whole life. And when I would get into a place where I didn't know if what I was thinking to do was the right decision or not, that's where I would go back to. Wow. And I would go, okay, I'm just going to have to sit on that stump. So that's where all this came from. But it's interesting that today we're talking about history. We're talking about our country. And that was one thing that Mr. Kerry Clark loved. And he taught us well. Well, he didn't teach me well. He taught well. I didn't listen well. Let's say that. I didn't listen well. If I knew then what I know now, I would have been all ears. And I think I passed history, believe it or not. I just don't know how.
Well, he planted that seed in you.
He planted that seed in me. And but they told real history. That's back when you heard the true facts. The history books had not been skewed.
Right.
It had not been twisted and reframed and re-narrated. It was quite a bit different. So tell me about the growth and the challenges and some of the opportunities that you feel are happening down over in Faulkner County right now. What are some new things that y'all are seeing that happening?
Well, Conway especially is really growing, and Greenbrier. There's just construction everywhere.
Really?
So we have tons of family coming in. Most of them that I'm seeing, they're moving in from California.
Yes, they are.
I'm having tons and tons of people I'm meeting everywhere questioning me or talking to me, and they all say they're from California.
Yeah.
That's the main
They're
the main
getting
place.
out as soon as they can.
Yes, and I'll tell you, California is kind of more known as a liberal state, and they have a lot of ideas that we don't like.
Yeah.
But there are those handfuls. They're most of the
people.
ones that are leaving California, they're leaving it because they're more on the conservative side.
They are.
So what I'm finding is a lot of these women that I'm meeting, some of them have joined our club, and they've just been a great asset. They're just on fire. They've got great ideas, and they've got a zeal about them where they want to get something done.
They do.
And I've just been so blessed to have a few of them join in with me and help me with some things in the group. And like I said, we want to grow as a club because the more women I've got involved, and we've got associate men memberships also. They come and help us when we do events and things. But it's just been a blessing to have all these ladies come in. But I need more volunteers to help me with things, of course, to get more done.
Yeah,
because
to get more done.
If I just have a tiny group, I can only do a tiny amount of things.
Right.
Sometimes we can do big things if
Yeah.
it all falls together and God opens the doors. But I need more people, so I'm not carrying the burden and the heaviness all by myself.
All by yourself, exactly. And I see that that's true. I've got neighbors that's across the street from me, and they moved from California. And I saw the same thing happen in Lonoc. I think it's happening all over the state, quite frankly, that people are coming out of California and coming here. And I don't know if you remember or even heard this, but back when we were fighting the abortion amendment, somebody in the northwest corner, I believe it was either a senator or representative, said that they were determined to make Arkansas the California of the South. And it was like, oh, I don't think that's going to fly around here.
So.
That is not going to fly around here, sister. You may think that you're going to do that, but you got a whole state that is not going to put up with that. We are not going to live under a Newsom kind of world. It's not going to happen.
No.
We'll fight you to the very end about that. That is not going to happen. And I thought, but how they were going to go about doing it was bringing abortion at any level into the state. That's what that whole Constitution.
Yes.
And by the way, folks, they'll be back. I'm telling you right now, they're going to be back.
Keep trying.
They have something with direct democracy right now that they're trying to get in, because if they can get that in, and if you're listening to me, I want you to understand that if they can get that in, they can then the next year come back with constitutional amendment again. And when you start messing with the Constitution, there's some things that, yes, they need to go in the Constitution. And I had Republican friends. There'll be people listening to me today that's like, but Vikki, when all those laws went into place, well, then work harder. All I know to tell you is work harder. Get out there and work harder to get your petitions done. Just do it right. That's all that needed to be done in the first place. Do it right. And they set that spun off. But then I would have some of my Republican friends would go like, well, with those laws, it made it almost impossible to get a constitutional amendment. Well, maybe you need to look and see if that Constitution, is that really what needs to go in the Constitution, or does it need to just be a law? Had abortion went into the Constitution, I promise you we would have never gotten it out. And people said, well, you could do another amendment. No, you'll never pass another amendment.
Once it's there, it's almost 100% there.
It's 100%.
I've talked to the representatives about that.
Yes.
It's in stone almost.
It's in stone. You won't get it out.
Yeah, so
and
you
that's
don't want it to go in there.
That's why we put the laws in place, because they were not telling the truth on the line. I heard them. All of us people, our Republican Party people, my Republicans came out of their party. They stood on the line with us out there and where they was trying to get the petitions so the truth could be told. Had we not been out there, the truth, we would have not heard all the lies that they told, how they skirted the issue, didn't tell people the truth, and so on, all the different things that they did wrong. Nobody would have known. Right. Nobody would have known. So when people say that to me, it's like, then work harder. I don't know what to tell you. Work harder. Maybe it doesn't need. No, maybe it just needs to be a law and not a constitutional amendment. Have you ever thought about that? Let's just do that, because I'd rather keep the devil out of the Constitution than to go like, but we want, and let's put what's important there first. Right. And if we get that part right. If babies can get to live, the American babies, our Arkansan babies get to live, our Arkansan moms are not damaged and destroyed, then praise the Lord Almighty. He'll bless us and all this other stuff that we're wringing our hands about. It's like, trust me, God's got this. He ain't worried about it. He's not worried one little bit about it.
We've just got to stand.
We've got to stand when nobody else can or is willing to stand. So is there anything that you need, or anybody that, like if they're listening, that would be willing to, if they thought, well, I'd like to help with that David Barton thing, or I'd like to help with it. Is there anything that they could do, Charlotte? Yes,
we have some sponsorships. Even if you can't come to the event, we've got a gold sponsorship, and it is $1,000 for a gold sponsorship. A silver sponsorship is $500, and we can do an ad for you in our program and on our overhead screens during the event. And then we're looking for a $5,000 diamond sponsorship to sponsor David Barton and his costs and everything for coming from Texas, because it's expensive to bring a speaker in.
Yes.
So I am asking for someone that would be our diamond donor for that. So those are three things that I could use that would really help me to just cover more of the expenses and the event center and all of that.
And if you know somebody, maybe if you're listening and you go like, yeah, I know somebody that might be willing to do that, be sure, and when you listen here at the end when Charlotte gives you their contact information and stuff, that we're gonna reiterate that here in just a minute. Just share with them, Charlotte, what how, give them the phone number or website or whatever they need, and when is there a deadline on when the tickets have got to be? They've got to get a ticket.
The event's on the 18th. We can take if you wanted to buy a ticket online, it can go all the way up to. We try to get a head count for the caterers for the food and things like that. That's why we need the tickets early as you can, so I can give them a head count. Because otherwise, if we have last minute people come in, there won't be enough food, of course. So we can't. So we do want to. We're trying to get it, to where at least June the 15th or something like that, a few days in advance before. But yeah, we'd like June to. The beginning weeks of June to be the deadline, if possible, for the caterers. But
And then how would they get in touch with y'all? How would
To get in touch with me, my number is 501-697-8083. You can call me or you can text me and tell me what you're interested in doing, whether one ticket is $100 a ticket and a table is $800 for just a regular table with no ads. But if you want to do an ad with a table, we have VIP tables for the front row. They're $2,000 a piece, and that comes with advertising. And, of course, it's got, distinguished decorations on the tables and front row. So that will be $2,000 for a VIP table. And that, of course, has 8 seats and your dinner. So that'll be also with social media advertising if you want to advertise. And another thing that we've had some members do is they'll get a VIP table to help us with this event, and they will donate the ad to like a campaign or someone that they believe in their community and say, hey, do you want to take the ad? And then they're having them send me their artwork and their, everything through email. And so that way we're able to do that, kind of like you're sponsoring your favorite candidates also.
Exactly.
So we've had that happen. And even a business, you can advertise your business or a friend's business if you want us to put the ad in. We've had Sissy's Log Cabin. They've every year always helped us and done an ad in our programs.
So is there a website?
It's Faulkner County Republican Women on Facebook is what we have.
On Facebook, so they can find you there.
And we also have a web page at Faulkner County Republican Women at GoDaddy.
Okay.
So that's another one, just if you want to see a little bit about us. Yeah. But the way that you can get I have an Eventbrite set up for Faulkner County Republican Women Flag Day.
So they could go into Eventbrite and search.
And it will be on there on a search, yes.
Okay.
And it'll say, Flag Day event.
But someone, like if the couple people just wanted to come and there wasn't a table, like they couldn't
single
do a
tickets,
table.
yes. We do single tickets.
And how much are those?
They're $100 each.
Okay.
So, you could just tell me you could text me at that phone number, the 501-697-8083.
Right.
And I'll put you down, get your name and get your address, and we'll just put you on a registry.
Okay.
And you'll be all set to come on the 18th.
And then they can just pay at the door? Is that what they would do? Or can they pay
They
in
can
advance?
send a check. They can send a check to our P.O. Box. It's a FCRW, and the address is P.O. Box 1702, Conway, Arkansas 72033. Okay. And you'll just put, however many tickets you want, just add it up and send in that check with your information and name, and I'll put it in the registry.
Awesome. That is one. Thank you so much for coming today,
thank you for having
Charlotte.
me.
I'm so glad that we got to have this discussion, and Christians, get involved. Just get involved and don't sit on the sidelines. Be part of the solution and not the problem, And so just really get involved. We'd like to say just stay engaged and, not making a choice is still making a choice. Not doing anything is still making a choice. Yes. So I just really want to thank you for stepping up and really thank you for leading, and thank you for reminding us that our voice still matters, and that everyone that's listening, you don't have to have it all figured out. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to even feel ready for that matter, but you do need to be willing. And because history is not just something we read, it's something we are writing every day. Right this minute, we are writing history, and your voice is part of that story. So this is Vikki Parker with your host is Sit on That Stump Muddy Bottom, and reminding you that even when life feels messy, even when things feel uncertain, even when it feels like you're sitting in the middle of the mud, God is still working right there in the middle of it, and we'll see you next time. I look forward to you joining us next week. Unexpected pregnancy? You don't have to face it alone. At Options Pregnancy Centers, we provide no-cost medical-grade pregnancy tests and ultrasounds in a safe, caring environment. Our trained team is here to listen, answer your questions, and help you explore your options with confidence. With locations serving Cabot, Beebe, Lone Oak, and Jacksonville, help is closer than you think. Call Options Pregnancy Center today at 501-941-8703 to schedule your confidential appointment. You are not alone. Options Pregnancy Centers, making a difference one life at a time.